Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. George Simon, and welcome to another edition of Character Matters, the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we have faced for several decades now, and that impacts every single aspect of our lives. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit more about something I've talked about in the past and will continue to talk about, because it has to do with narcissism. And because there's so much information these days about narcissism that you can find in popular books and on the internet, and unfortunately, much of it is inaccurate to some degree and insufficient to ground people well in an understanding of this phenomenon of our age. One of the most common misconceptions is that narcissism is a one size fits all unidimensional phenomenon. You see all kinds of things posted by people who have had various kinds of experiences, and they'll tell you narcissist this and narcissist that, like they're all the same, when in fact they're not. Narcissism comes in many different types and to varying degrees of severity. And much has been written about the phenomenon of covert narcissism, narcissism that is not easily seen. And even that comes in two different forms. There are covert narcissists who are active in their deception. That is, they deliberately try to mislead you about who they are, what their values are, what they desire of you, how they see you, what designs they may have on you. And they do this for a reason. Because if you knew exactly who they were, what their values really are, what designs they actually have on you, you might have an entirely different opinion about whether or not you want to have anything to do with them. So they deliberately conceal their nature and their intentions. Then there are those passively covert narcissists, narcissists who don't particularly do anything to hide their nature or their intentions, but who may have certain gifts that endear you and cause you to fail to do sufficient homework with respect to vetting their character. They may have charm. They may have charisma. They may have good positive impression management skill. You may become very enamored. You might be bowled over, smitten, unduly impressed. You may open your heart prematurely, give your heart unreservedly, and without sufficient contemplation of whether the person asking for your heart really merits that kind of consideration, whether they really have the character to merit such a gift. In our day and time, vetting character is of paramount importance. Sadly, we've kind of lost our way about how to do it, what to look for, how to judge, how to carefully examine someone's history, the signs to look for, how to test their actual values, not their professed ones. Many times, at the outset of a relationship, a person's gut churns upon bearing witness to certain things that signal possible trouble. But sometimes you can ignore those concerns, especially if the other person has such endearing qualities like amiability, easygoing nature, ease of connection with other people, the gift of gab, etc., etc. You might ignore those inner inclinations that tell you maybe not all is as it seems. I wrote my first book in sheep's clothing to describe covert characters and the tactics that they use in detail. And I wrote Essentials for the Journey to underscore the principles essential to a value driven meaningful life, all beginning with appreciation for the inherent interconnectedness of all and the impact, the necessary, unavoidable impact of every choice we make, every action we take, every attitude we hold. We don't exist in a vacuum. We're all part of something. And because we're so interconnected, what happens here has an impact there. It's inescapable. So it's important that we reclaim the timeless principles that can help almost anyone. And I say almost anyone because unfortunately there are those individuals who are put together in such a way that it seems nearly impossible for them to grow in ways that most of us are capable of growing in character by recognizing and taking to heart the timeless principles that can help transform us into the best versions of ourselves. So, once again, I thank you for tuning in. I'm Dr. George Simon. Until next time, take care.